Hey, it's Big John R. Buy, sell, trade, and give stuff away on Swap Shop, Saturday mornings at 7 on the Talk Station.
Howdy you all. That will be the topic coming up here in a moment with our guest joining us by phone, Ethan Lynk, who is a wizened, an experienced debater. We got his teacher in here in the studio, Julia Brown. How experienced is he, Julia?
Well, although he's a little bit wet behind the ears, I think he's been through a lot that qualifies
Wait. How wet behind the ears?
He is a ninth grader.
A ninth grader. And he's going to nationals.
He's going to nationals. And 2 weekends ago, he just won first place on the state level for Rotary International.
Well, he's got all those years of experience behind him. I got to ask, Ethan, you're on the line. Welcome to the program as well. We've got Joshua Wade and Jace Lawrence joining us here. And Jace, of course, member of our Viewpoints panel. Ethan, welcome. Thanks for being with us. Tell me something, Ethan. What's your background that you are such a good debater?
Well, I draw from a few different things, but I have to say that one of the most important things to being a debater on even the high school and the collegiate circuit would be mainly knowing how to get your way with your parents.
Aha, okay. By the way, your parents wouldn't happen to be lawyers or something of that nature, would they?
No.
Okay. I'm impressed. We're going to hear your speech here in just a moment. Howdy, y'all. But before we get to that, I want to go back to you, Julia. You have Joshua Wade in here in the studio. Tell me a little something about Joshua.
Josh was our speech debate president. He started in his sophomore year, and before long he became a big star, not only in preparing for District Congress, original oratory, prose poetry reading, and humorous interpretation, but he rose to become the fifth highest or strongest debater in North Carolina in his junior year, and by his senior year he became third. He later went on to form an individual events forensic team at Liberty University, and he won nationals.
Liberty University, impressed with that. I brought up the topic forensics. I think of forensics like a forensic audit or topic of forensics when you're dealing with autopsies and things of this nature. Tell us the the background for the word forensic.
Well, forensics in this context comes from Aristotle, which basically, long story short, means to persuade. So all of the events that we compete in and all the events that our team competes in and all the speeches that we give all have a purpose to persuade in one way or another.
And the idea here is, back in the old days of debate, I'm thinking you had a topic and you possibly had time to research your topic. Whether you wanted to or not, you had to defend whatever the issue was that they handed to you. Is that still the process?
In some events, exactly. Forensics is broken up into lots of different categories of speech. Mm-hmm. And so there's debate events, which is basically how you explained it. There's independent speech events, and then there's also an acting side to it. So it's bringing a character to life through a piece of literature and persuading what that literature means and why you care so much about that literature by being that character. So it's basically acting. So all of those events, including debate, you're persuading in one way or another. In debate, you're persuading the judge to agree with your argument. In all the other events, you're persuading for the argument itself, like why it's so important to you.
This goes back to the comment, words have meaning.
Exactly.
Jace, you're representing the school in what capacity?
As chapter president.
Also, you're going to nationals, is that correct?
Yes, my package is traveling as the statewide and district student of the year. It'll be traveling to the nationals where I'll have an opportunity to possibly win national student of the year for the Forensic League.
What will you be doing?
At that, I will be giving a speech about what I believe to be the Forensic League means to me and what it's done for me and overall what it does for the community as a whole.
Come on, that's a softball. Everybody is going to... Let me hear from you, Julia.
He is the living example. All of the leaders that we've had throughout the years have sacrificed themselves, but Jace, as you know, has been involved in football. When he made the playoffs, for example, what he would do was play the game late Friday nights and then drive or have his parents drive him before dawn to make it to the tournament site just in time to do the gut check, the prayers, and the leadership roles and activities that we have before the tournament. He's that dedicated because then he would go on to debate for 6 hours. Then he would ride the bus home with us, make sure that all the little ones cleaned up after themselves so we wouldn't be levied a $40 $8 bus levy. And he's been just a living example.
So there is hope for him with a little bit of effort. Okay. Julia, you have consistently won major recognition. You were talking about a situation in 2003. Tell us a little background on this.
2003, East Carteret qualified for the Nationals in Public Policy Debate Forum. Mm-hmm. We went to Houston, Texas. We were led by a great debater that time too, named Clark Reamer. And Clark and his co-captain Barrett Snipes, Harrison Smith, Russell Lewis, Alyssa Hackmeister, Amanda Eubanks, well, they were up against a fantastic team out of Carmel High School outside of Chicago. They were a team coming from a school that had as many AP classes as East Carteret has normal, regular classes. So talk about rich resources.
That's just AP.
Yeah, AP classes, yes.
Had as many AP classes as you have total classes at East Carteret High School.
Yes, sir. So
that's a big school.
In the final rebuttal, of course, we're all believers, and the quotation that Clark used came from the book of Proverbs. Since we were the negative defending the status quo, he akined the affirmative case to a foolish man bringing havoc upon his own house and inheriting the wind. It was a powerful rhetorical device. It sends chills up and down my spine even now.
Just the description is impressive. Jace, what have you got in front of you before we go to Ethan?
Well, what I have in front of me right now is a list of the top 5 strongest schools in our district.
What are they?
Cary Academy, a private institution, $20,000 a year tuition. Pinecrest High School, a school where over 2,000 students go there, and speech and debate is mandatory to graduate. Durham Academy, another private school with $21,000 tuition a year. East Chapel Hill High School, a school with 1,700 students where students on the team have to pay their own way to go to tournaments. And then little old East Carteret High School with 570 students where our club helps our students go to tournaments and where we compete against some of the best schools in the state.
Joshua, what is it about Ms. Brown that consistently produces this kind of speech and debate?
It's definitely her passion for the activity. You can tell as a former competitor herself. She really cares about what she's doing, and she really wants to pour into the students that have this opportunity that no other school in our county offers.
Wait, hold on.
Yes.
Not all students are born alike. How does she reach them?
Well,
let's be candid. How did she reach you?
How did she reach me?
It was definitely a lost cause.
Exactly. I was actually in one of her English classes my freshman year, and she asked us all to do it, and she always is excited about it in all of her classes. So every student that comes through the door hears about speech and debate in one way or another. And so I didn't do it my freshman year because I didn't know much about it, and I was trying to get involved with other things. And then finally, my sophomore year, I gave in, and I joined the team, and it's really been one of the best decisions of my high school and college career, I guess you could say.
Does it prepare you for a variety of events and challenges that are not necessarily just purely memorization and rote?
Oh, of course. It gives you the opportunity to share how you feel about issues in a way that people are going to listen to, in a way that people are going to respond well to, because it is all about persuasion. So being able to persuade how you feel about things, this activity gives you that opportunity where you wouldn't get it otherwise.
Before I go to Ethan, why do you do this, Julia?
It's my passion. As Josh had said, originally it was because my parents always made me take speech and debate when I was in 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade. Even when I was a freshman at Stanford, they insisted I take speech and debate.
Stanford as in Stanford University?
Yes, sir. I have 3 degrees from Stanford. I have a master's in English education, a BA in English, and an honors degree in English. So I've been very blessed. I'm very grateful to be here. But one of the wonderful things about speech and debate, it empowers children. My parents wanted me to take speech and debate because I'm so quiet, I'm shy, I naturally have this weak, wimpy voice. One of the things about the relocation camp, because the listeners can't see, but I'm not Caucasian, I'm Japanese American. One of the mysteries of the relocation camp to me growing up was hearing how my parents and my grandparents never said anything. They never took a stance against it. They didn't see it as an injustice. They saw it as shkatakanai, something that they had to do. And I thought that, gosh, if we only had a voice. And now I've gone full circle.
By the way, for those who are not aware of this, and there are some out there, at the outset of World War II, all Japanese Americans were relocated. They were rounded up and put in camps in the states of Washington, Oregon, and California. And I may have gone east of that. I'm not sure.
Some from Hawaii, too.
Okay, and why? Okay. And so the point is that what you're hearing from this is that your parents, they were part of that.
Yes, sir.
It is, and Ethan, before I even introduce you, before I let you go into the speech, how did you come about this, just out of curiosity?
Well, we have a tournament almost every weekend starting in, late September, I guess, and spanning all the way up until just about now for qualifying for the national tournament. And the one that I was going to at the particular time, about a day before the tournament, I decided that I wanted to do this particular event. So I had a speech outline in mind and everything, and I was going to go and write it down. And the day, actually just about the moment that I was going to go write it, I got a call from Josh, and he said that Miss Brown and him had come up with an alternate speech that would be pretty successful. So I decided to take that idea and run with it, and that is what I've come up with.
All right. Howdy Y'all. With that, Ethan, the microphone is yours.
Around 8, I wanted badly to be a rapper. When it came time to give myself a name, it was obviously easy, since my last name is Link. I've heard a lifetime worth of puns. So young Link Sausage went on to capture the rap world. However, when I began to drop mad beats, this is all anyone seemed to hear. Howdy, y'all. Boy, I'd love to stick around, but I gotta get on to the rodeo tonight so I can be overly racist and spit everywhere. I mean, now I get it. A white kid from the South with a semi-Southern accent. That's all people expected of me. And it definitely wasn't fair. However, not to be misinterpreted, living in the South does have its perks. I mean, we can talk about NASCAR and it be socially acceptable, and we have the knowledge that duct tape can fix just about anything. But when we stop to think about it, it's these things that make us a little different that are the things that permeate into our pop culture and our media and make us look like nothing more than stupid hillbillies. I mean, I can point to any sensible person and they can tell me that negative stereotyping isn't a good or a helpful thing, but it's something we often do unintentionally. And to be honest, it limits our opportunity for innovation. And it needs to stop. It has to stop. And I intend to kickstart it. So first, we'll dig deep to see what causes negative stereotyping. Then we'll look at the impact it has on our society. And finally, we'll see what we can do to stop this destructive course of action. We should know by now that African Americans are great athletes, Asians can do math, women can't drive, Hispanics are hard workers, Jews are tight with money, and that the French show up late to war. Because we're constantly hammered with these portrayals, often by the media, we forget to lay a foundation around a person's character, and instead we assume based on stereotypes. As University of Massachusetts in Boston professor Lawrence Blum states in his work entitled Stereotypes and Stereotyping, a Moral Analysis, we generally draw conclusions of a group by the portrayed actions of popular or public members of that group. And through pop culture, people can get audiences to associate groups with wrong characteristics, which in turn precipitates into the audience viewing the group as a set of characteristics and not multidimensional individuals. To help put this into perspective, let's turn to Coca-Cola's controversial America is Beautiful advertisement from this year's Super Bowl. If you missed it because the game was unbearable to watch, the commercial featured various Americans of different cultural backgrounds singing America the Beautiful, and tremendous uproar ensued. Many commentators went on to say that it's disrespectful to sing such a beautiful song in such terrorist languages. And instead of celebrating the rich diversity America has to offer, many tweets, articles, and Facebook posts show just how ignorant, unaccepting, and even prejudiced many Americans are, and how terrible it makes the rest of us look. Now, the reason we make these generalizations is because, as a society, we've become lazy. Because in the end, isn't it easier to draw a conclusion based on a stereotype than to become socially attached to someone and expose yourself to all their foundations and then make a sensible conclusion? So what does stereotyping really hurt, besides the feelings of the stereotype, of course? Well, sadly, it seems that instead of learning to love the things that make us different, we are more focused on changing the things about ourselves that are negatively stereotyped. Rob Maris from Rhodes College says in his article entitled "The Southern Accent, We're Losing It," just that. We're losing it. And the effects are detrimental to culture, diversity, individualism, and pride. You see, once we begin to give up on the things that make us special, we truly begin to lose a part of ourselves. However, this is a double-edged sword. You see, once we embrace the things that make us special, make us unique, it can cause major problems, going as far as the judicial system. In Kentucky, a black man was charged with a crime because of the way a white police officer thought he might speak. The police heard an audio recording of a black man committing the crime and said that it was the defendant, solely because the defendant was black, although the policeman had never heard nor seen him before the trial. And it's sad when we can draw a conclusion on a person's character based solely on the way they talk. According to CNN contributor Roland Martin, Trayvon Martin, the African-American teenager killed just last year, is a prime example of how stereotyping is destructive. He says, whether you agree with the jury's ruling or not, the simple fact is, someone died because of stereotypes on both sides of the conflict, because each individual looked a certain way and were judged based solely on that stereotype. It's gotten to the point where this injustice needs to stop, or it will destroy what's precious. So how do we overcome this double-edged sword of stereotypes? It seems that the moment we embrace the stereotype, we're judged for it. And if we try to change the stereotype, we give up a part of who we are. It's a lose-lose situation, but here's the secret. You see, in order to start the acceptance of all people as equal, we must break down the barriers that separate them. Really. If you want to be a doctor, a scientist, a reporter, a fry cook, an actor, a rapper, do it. Even if those around you stereotype you as something completely different. Show them that you're more, but don't forget where you came from and the things that truly make you, you. You see, from the moment I started this little activity, I've gotten countless ballots back with notes about my accent. Judges have told me to drop the accent, going even as far as telling me that I sound less intelligent because of the way that I talk. And to be honest, I'm sick and tired of trying to hide or cover up something about myself simply because of a preset stereotype. I mean, in an activity where lives are changed and ideas are shared because of the power of words, it seems that I'm looked down upon simply because of the way that I deliver mine. So I refuse to give up who I am to win an award any longer. Don't, for a moment, stick me into the stereotypical Southern role. Rather, an American one. Because breaking stereotype perception starts with you. You're the only ones who can change this normality and make decisions based on how a person acts. It's up to you to disregard stereotypes and to begin a loud campaign against your own. Whether you talk like this, like this, like this, like this, or even like this, do not be ignored or lumped in with the others, but stand out as an individual and do what it takes to make people see you for who you truly are. It begins with you. So today, we saw that stereotypes are caused by our laziness to accept them. We saw the detrimental impact it has on our community. And finally, we saw how you and I can end this status quo. But we didn't cover one thing. You see, unfortunately, young Link Sausage didn't make it in the rough-and-tumble 8-year-old junior rap game. He got caught up in the candy cigarette business and never really got to perform. However, old Sausage Link has been crackling in his skin, waiting to bust out of his seams, if you know what I mean. And what better way to start this change than to break down this social barrier? So you know what they say. There's no time like the present. I'm 5'10", no chance to dunk. I've got light skin and I'm quite the hunk. I'm in calculus, but I'm not Asian, although my math skills are quite amazing. Whether you're awkward, yelly, short, or fat, don't let them judge you, and that's just that. So put it on your fridge and write it on your planner. Young Sausage was the first. He's tearing down the banner, and when I walk into a room, I'm not a southern niche, because when I get stereotyped, it's quite the pain. Thank you.
Ethan Lynk. Ethan, outstanding job. I really appreciate it. This is what you're going to present in, where will the competition be, Julia?
Kansas.
Kansas. Where in Kansas?
Overton Park.
Ethan, when do you leave for competition?
I'm not even sure when the date is.
It's going to be the second week of June.
June. Okay. So school will be over.
Yes.
All right.
Right.
Very intense. Very intense.
How many?
Ethan will probably be doing about 5 different events besides the main one.
Wow. It's intense. You've been here many times before, Julia.
Not many. No. Some years when we've qualified, we really couldn't afford to go. And in fact, in Ethan's case and Jace's case, we're hoping that people will help donate funds.
Okay. We'll end on that note. If anybody wants to donate, do they donate to the school? What do they do?
Yes, to ECHS NFL.
NFL, by the way, that's National Forensic League.
Yes.
Not a National Football League.
And we'll also provide a receipt for the person to make a record in their taxes.
How much money is it going to cost?
It will probably cost about $2,000 a person.
$2,000 a person.
They've got hotel
How many people were going?
Expenses too. Jace, Ethan, Josh, and Miss Brown. Ethan can't compete without someone represented from the school, and Josh is the glue that keeps everything together.
All right. Yeah. So we need what amounts to $8,000 to $10,000 for these competitors to make it to Kansas City, Kansas.
Sir.
And Ethan, congratulations to you.
Thank
Jace, as always, we're always kind of surprised to know that there's hope for you after all. And
Mr. Debate.
Mr. Debate. Julia, congratulations to you. And I know that these are just some of how many students?
We have about 35 active students, but this is the work of the Lord. He's really moved in our lives.
Through the vessel known as Julia Brown. So I want to commend you on that. To all of you. Ethan, thanks for your patience. Thanks for your presentation this evening. We're probably going to have to do another recording of it here in the studio, so I'll chat with you about that through Miss Brown. All right?
All right.
Thank you
for
very
having
much.
me.
Appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Hey, this is Ben Ball, and we'll get your morning started each weekday from 6 to 9 on Coastal Daybreak.